Welcome back to Crown Chats. I am thrilled to welcome today's guest. He is the legendary costume designer for some of the biggest Hallmark movies of the decade, from The Christmas Quest to The Finish Line to Where Are You Christmas, Mystic Christmas, Biltmore Christmas, Holiday Touchdown, and the upcoming Sisterhood Inc. With Keith in charge, you'll always over-deliver and never be underdressed. Please welcome Keith Nielsen, or Keith Costumes.
Thank you.
Woo-hoo!
Wow, a favorite intro. I'm going to steal that for my bio.
Absolutely. It would be my honor if you stole my material. So let's start from the beginning. For those who maybe don't know, where did your interest in sewing, design, and costuming come from?
Well, my grandmother taught me to sew when I was like 8. And it was just something like fun making she made like one of my aunt's Halloween costumes all the time because she was into Halloween and stuff. And I got into Halloween, but it was never something that I was like, this is my passion. And I'm by no means an expert tailor stitcher by any means, but it does help just understanding like basics of general things to be able to communicate. And I actually have a business degree from an art school, and just for fun, I would do student films and stuff because one of my professors was always like, just like do these fun, interesting things that even if it's not like experience, you can still put it as like special skills or something interesting on your resume. And if people go to film school, like they want to like direct or edit, or they want to be on like the more technical stuff. So once they got their prerequisite in like costumes or production design, like it kind of opened up some fun opportunities for people like me. And then I thought I was gonna go and like be an entrepreneur, but then life throws curveballs. And after school, I got offered an internship in New York and like moved to New York in a day, which actually coming this September is like my first decade technically. That's the one beauty of social media is I remember posting a picture and every year I get the memory of like my first day as an intern. So that's pretty cool. Um, and then yeah, I mean, even that internship, I thought it was just like, oh, I'm just gonna take this like 2-month gig and it's something to like again like build your resume. And then I kind of just like I guess fell in love, and when you fall in love, you don't always realize. And I just snowballed it from there. I was very interested in like the technical side of things, having like a business degree, because there like is so much technical stuff besides clothes. Like on the bigger movies like Touchdown or Biltmore, like once we're in the motions, like I'm doing so many other things of just like labor management and just like communicating with the team. And then it's like I'm having other people execute and then I'm just like approving and tweaking. But there's a whole process to that too. But yeah, I always say never because I don't know. I never thought I'd end up here, but I'm in love. And it's like the only thing I ever want to do.
Well, we are grateful for it all and we are here for it. So how does that eventually lead you to costuming for television, film, and eventually Hallmark?
Yeah, so my internship was in television. So working in series is kind of an interesting training ground because you're always prepping an episode while you're filming one. So it's kind of like doing two like mini movies at once when you figure like episodic's about like 40-ish minutes of content. So that's also like a good training. And then actually I got into theater, which also was like a good training ground, especially because I'm sure you've heard Hallmark movies. We prep them in 3 weeks and we film them in 3 weeks. So the learning of like speed early on was really nice. And understanding like kind of like what are the battles to like fight, and like where to spend your time and your labor budget. So I did like I think it was 13 or 14 shows for a regional theater in Westchester, New York. And I was so lucky at like the age of like 23, 24. Like they pretty much let me do whatever I want. I mean, it had to like work for the story, but um that's like an amazing gift that I was given to like build my portfolio as like a young designer to be able to like use that. And then when I was still working in TV, on like the costume team, because on it just depends on like the level of budget, how big your team is. I was a costume coordinator and I got a random call, which it always happens. It's a random call, for my first Christmas movie, which wasn't Hallmark, but it was independent, starred Denise Richards, and ever since then, I really like decided, which I know it sounds cliche, but a lot of people like, I just decided to do this and then I did it. Which is easier said than done, but it's like I kind of decided I was like, well, I'm not gonna go like backwards. I mean, I kind of did in the way of like I shopped for people a lot, but shopping is kind of fun for me because you just like take a list and you go have fun and you're not super invested. Um, And then I was introduced to Hallmark because I did a BET movie with a production company. I'm from Connecticut, and we filmed here. And a production company here, Synthetic Cinema, does a lot with Hallmark. And then they kind of had like two movies at once. So it kind of gave them an opportunity to introduce me. Which I'm also one of my favorites is Next Stop Christmas, which is my first Hallmark movie. Which I actually love because that was like Chandler and Lindsay's first one too. So it's kind of like when we've worked together before, it's kind of like we both had our first Christmas movies on the network together. So that's nice.
Yeah, and that's a classic. And if you look at the top films of the decades, you're part of all of them.
I mean, I'm biased, but yeah.
Well, we're wondering what the common denominator is. I'm just saying.
And so, that said, what is the standard design process that you go through for a typical Hallmark movie? Is it something that you get the script ahead of time? Is it something you're collaborating with the director on what the vision is? Are you working with the actors on how costumes play into character development? Or is it something that at this point they're like, we have Keith, just give him the credit card and let him run with it?
It depends on the job. I do always get the script. That's like always my first question. Just because it's like it might not even be a good match for like me. It might just or like the timing might not work out, or like even if it's just Hallmark, they might want me for something else. So I always kind of like get the script and we have a meeting and I'm like, these are like my general thoughts. And I kind of like to keep it not crazy general, but I keep it general because I don't always know who my cast is going to be. That impacts things. I was always trained like dress for the face. So like your haircut, your hair color, like your skin tone, that all changes the look and feel of things. Um, so I keep it pretty general. And then I always ask the question to like the network or the director. I'm like, is there like one thing like you're like dying to see? And that could literally just be like in Mystic, I know we wanted to use a lot of like blues because it was like by the ocean and like nautical. So like that was like an example there. But I'm kind of like, what's like the dream or what's important? And then like the important thing in like the Chiefs movie was like the hat and like also making sure it wasn't just like branded stuff. Um, and then yeah, we get casting, so then that like changes things. I always do mood boards. I actually do a lot of like online shopping for my mood board, so I'm actually presenting things that like I can actually like acquire. Because the old school way of doing mood boards was people you would just go days, the whole team would go through magazine after magazine. And it is a mood to like suggest like styling, but you never want someone to see something and they're like, I love that, which I know a lot of like viewers are like, I love that, and then like you can't get it. Uh, so I never want to do that in like the workplace. I want to be able to actually execute what I'm showing someone. And then on the technical side on that, I work with my team too, understanding how many changes we need. So that's important with a collaboration of like we have script days. And even when I go back and watch, I'm like, I was going nuts over that, and like nobody's gonna notice. And like, but it's how the main thing that justifies like the difference in the day is the costume change. Because say you have like say the whole Biltmore movie was just inside the Biltmore, it like looks the same. The only thing signifying the change is the clothes. So I take that very seriously. And also that becomes a big collaboration conversation too, because I'm always like, oh, well, if we condense this, there's less changes in the day, so we can maybe work a little faster. Like, is that something that's, again, like the hill to die on, or do we really want that? And then always the big conversation is like the dress moment, which I do love. And I'm always trying to like, it's always trying to figure out what the level of like dressiness is, because like the Chiefs movie, like it was like cocktail, but like I wanted a moment. And then like I've done ones like Mystic Christmas, which were much more small town casual that didn't really have a dress moment. It just had like a nice event type of thing. So it like mixes it up. So there's like a million things in the conversation. Um, and then yeah, I mean we do a lot of shopping. And basically what I do with my breakdown's really important to me because I don't like to on the technical side of things, like I don't like to shop blindly because then it creates more work for the entire team. So if I only need 10 changes, but I shop enough for 35, that creates a lot of work for the team. And then I lose my team when I need them most, which is like putting things on screen. So that's like the balancing game. Um, so yeah. And then especially the hard part. is like we're so in fast fashion, we're so seasonal now. Like you just and everything's like it's you like if we need to size swap it before you know it, it's like gone at the H&M because there's like a new sweater collection. So that's why I've gotten into the bad habit of like if I see it, I buy it. Uh,
I think we call that preventative management. I mean, shop early, shop often, right?
exactly. Or it's like I don't know, like Anthropology I love, and they have like a new like resale of like old styles, which I love because it's like not so like just oh he just went to Anthropology. Um and there's like so many different things and so many different collections to like reference.
And so that leads me to my next question about shopping seasonally. So obviously a Hallmark Christmas movie is depicting winter and Christmas time, but they're filmed all throughout the year and even in some of the warmer months. So how does that impact how you find pieces or are styling pieces, needing the winter layers but factoring in those summer temperatures?
So I was really lucky for a while because like Next Stop, Sugar Plum, Spectacular, that was all like fall into winter. Then I was in like Ireland. That was like fun because that's very neutral. The only ones I really had a hard time, I've done some Lifetime movies in the middle of summer that was crazy. Um, and then recently Touchdown was July, also like in the middle of the country where there's like no air movement because you're not near like the water. Um, so you can actually in that movie it's a good example because they did a lot of behind the scenes stuff and there's people without their coats and it's all like chopped off and all these things and they look kind of insane. So that you just do what you got to do. And then you also like I pull a lot of stuffing out of coats, but then from a technical standpoint, you don't want to lose the structure and the look of the coat. So it's a balancing thing. I personally love a glove in a moment, but I've had to kind of forego that in winter, like in the summer months, because again, it's like hard to get on. And I do want my actors, of course, to be like comfortable. Nobody wants to be uncomfortable, especially like when you're doing your job. And your job is like your person on camera. So there's like tricks. I mean, and then obviously we had the opposite in Iceland, which was keeping people warm but still keeping people looking like flattering and good for the camera. Because there's only like so many layers you can put under like a pair of jeans.
Yes, and so you designed the Letterman coat, which is inspired by the one that Hunter King wears in the finale of Holiday Touchdown. And it was extremely well received. You sold a lot of them and even auctioned one off for charity. Does this possibly mean that we have some exclusive Keith Costumes pieces coming in the future, or maybe even a collection?
I mean, that'd be awesome. I mean, I would love the dream for me is to like get like a 3-year warning on a movie. So then like because it takes so much time to like produce things and like design it and do like the pattern making and like there's a whole thing called a tech pack where you like measure every single like seam allowance and like it takes a lot of time and a lot of people. So like this was kind of just like an individual like opportunity element to like employ like local artisans and do something really awesome. And then like, I mean, I want to do like a men's version of it, but I mean, I would love like the next like I don't know if give me like the next 3-year warning for like the next spectacular Christmas and I can get working and we can collab.
And you've gotten to design for some of the top Hallmark stars, from Christopher Polaha to Lacey Chabert, Tyler Hines, Hunter King, Jesse Schramm, Bethany Joy Lenz. At this point, you name it, you've dressed them. Do you have any kind of cool behind the scenes stories? Can you spill the tea on any of them? Have any memorable moments or just kind of fun memories?
Hmm. I mean, I like everybody. So like no negative tea there. Um, I
Sweet tea is fine
love
too. It's okay.
something like Lacey and I have in common is we always kind of want to find like what's different and how can we make it look different and just to, like explore that creatively. And I really admire she always wants to like make it the best it can be and like make it better and different. Um, no shot, Christopher's very tall. Lacey's very petite. Um, Yeah, it was fun to like kind of. I feel like I put Tyler in some different things than like we've seen him in before, just because like the character called for it. And I really enjoy and appreciate an actor that's like down to like play. Um, because, again, like it's different. And especially if you're gonna stay in the same genre, I think it's even more important to like push the difference, just to like mix it up. So it's not just like one note. And I personally never want to be like one note either. Which
Yeah.
is why like, yeah, I don't know. It's at this point, like, because I think I just finished my 11th. It's like kind of like doing similar elements that are in like the look and the feel, but like different.
And I completely agree. There's so much diversity in what you've created, from football fanatic chic to showgirl outfits to Christmas quest adventure, Hallmark Indiana Jones kind of stuff to period pieces. You've done it all, and we can't wait to see what masterpieces you still have to come. That being said, your next movie, I think you said you've done 11 at this point with Hallmark. Your next movie, Sisterhood Inc., comes out February 22nd. Can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect from you in that?
So it's my first non-Christmas for the network, which was exciting for me just because I've been in Christmas land, which I love, but this was interesting too because it's coming out in February, so it's set in February. So it's nice to still be, I love coats, so it's still nice to be able to play with coats, but like in a different non-holiday realm or through that perspective. I mean, you have some like really chic, cool lines. I worked with a lot of great brands. Um, I'm a big Rachel and Daniela fan. Leonidas, I think, could be an awesome, great new Hallmark hunk, who has an awesome Australian accent. Um, yeah, and it's like it's cute that it's like a sister bonding thing, and like the B storylines more of like the romance. So I personally enjoy that exploration too, just because again, switching it up, keeping it
Hmm.
fresh.
Absolutely.
And that brings us to the final segment, which I like to call a little crown to crown, which is just simply a rapid fire of I give you a topic and you're going to give me the first response that comes to mind. Let's start with something simple. Favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving.
Yep.
If they made a Hallmark movie all about the life of Keith, who would play you?
Oh, I would totally want like an unknown. I feel like we'd have to like how Dolly Parton for her like bio musicals like On the Hunt, like I'd want to do that. Um I don't know, it's interesting. That's an interesting question. One of my favorite documentaries is about the revival of A Chorus Line, and the original Connie was the like so like choreographer, and she's like, "Do I get a say?" Because like the character's based on her. So it's an interesting thing. Yeah, I don't know because I feel like if it's a famous person, it becomes about the famous person, not about the story.
Other than designing costumes, what other skill or talent could you contribute on the set of a Hallmark movie?
I wish I always had time, and I don't think it. Maybe it was scripted and it got cut at some point. But if there's ever anything with like illustrations, I love fashion illustrations, so I'd love to kind of contribute that to like the set decoration. Um, but I just like never have any time. Like if there was like something about like I would love to do one of like the fashion or like fashiony movies and like if she's like a fashion designer or like if like 101 Dalmatians, like that is would be really cool stuff to like sketch and contribute. Um, so yeah.
If the roles were reversed and one of the Hallmark actors or actresses had to dress you, who would you pick?
Oh, I would be the worst like actor client to dress. I'm so like, ugh. Um, who would I want to dress me? Um, probably not one of the guys, no offense. It's hard because a lot of people text me asking for advice all the time. Oh my gosh. I mean, probably Lacey because of her attention to detail of like the tiny things.
And she's had a fashion line, and you said you guys have similar tastes, or
Fair, yeah.
yeah, so
And I like the attention to detail, like just hemming it just like a pinch.
yeah, she's a strong choice.
Hollywood or Hallmark is doing a major movie remake that you get to design all the costumes for. What movie would that be?
I'm trying to think of a historical movie that would be like a good Hallmark match. I mean, I have ideas in my head, but I don't want to give them away. Um, I mean, a lot of people want to see his Merry Wife from Biltmore, which is kind of like, It's a Wonderful Life. So I mean, that's kind of like a play on It's a Wonderful Life. So it's like the Hallmark version. So like, why not? I mean, I really did miss doing a period piece last year.
Mhm. Yeah.
So manifesting for this year.
And lastly, is there a specific charity or organization that you would love to give a shout out to that holds a special place in your heart?
Oh my gosh. I haven't really thought about that too much. I mean, I did do a raffle for the Letterman coat and gave to like Children's Mercy of Kansas City because I know they do a lot of great stuff. I've had relatives that have like left their wills to like St. Jude, so health and wellness is important. So probably anything with that, and then just basic human rights.
And that wraps us up. Thank you so much for joining me today. I think I speak for the entire Hallmark community when I say we are just honored with all of the masterpieces that you have created for us, and you have made such a contribution to making these Hallmark films true classics. And I'm going to keep manifesting for a Keith Costumes collection at some point. Before we go, can you please tell everybody where they can find and follow you so we can keep up with all things Keith Nielsen and Keith Costumes?
So I'm KeithCostumes.com and then Keith_costumes Instagram. Yeah, I'm mostly active on Instagram because, who knows what's going on with Twitter. And then if you ever need me, it's just Keith at KeithCostumes.com. So I keep the branding consistent.
Thank you all for joining me again today. Be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Share this video with all of your friends and family and anybody who loves Hallmark or you think should love Hallmark. Be sure to follow me at Crown the Halls on Instagram. And until next time, wear your crown. Your crown may tilt, but may it never fall. You are beautiful and you are strong.